Thank you, Ardi. So, Cindy, you mentioned that you are growing at 60% month to month, but the business model right now is quite different than zaman now, right? And it takes a lot of like operational excellence to be able to deliver the same level of service because of the nature of the business.
Yeah.
Are you experiencing that problem or not?
Of course, especially during our MVP, itu banyak sekali hal-hal yang baru yang kita tuh tadinya nggak tahu, jadi dan kita tuh harus cepat buat belajar dan kasih solusi untuk hal itu. Gitu. Contohnya misalnya kayak tadinya kita tuh pakai third party untuk produk kita, sekarang kita yang sourcing sendiri, terus kita yang harus quality control supaya kita bisa deliver dan komplainnya tuh minim. Tapi yang namanya fresh product pasti tetap ada. Misalnya pas pengiriman, pas nyampe, tiba-tiba barangnya ada kesalahan atau rusak gitu. Dan itu kita juga harus cepat belajar, gimana caranya. Karena kalau untuk fresh products, we can't let our customers be disappointed at our service and our product. Karena it's very crucial. Pembandingnya banyak. I'd rather buy the traditional pasar atau I'd rather go to the supermarket. Dan itu yang akhirnya kita selama MVP harus benar-benar menggunakan waktu dan our limited resources, terus seminim mungkin budget, karena waktu itu kita nggak ada budget untuk beralih kan, untuk pivot kita nggak ada. Jadi selama itu memang itulah challenge terus permasalahan yang kita hadapi. Tapi setelah MVP, kita mulai siap ya Don ya. Kita mulai siap. It's time for us to to just start Pasar Now.
We know all the pitfalls, all the hard things that we have to face when we launch the final product or the actual product. So, for example, like Cindy was saying, with customer service and products that come to the customers that maybe aren't perfect, we have to know, because it's daily goods needs. For example, our customer gets a cracked egg, we have to either deliver another egg to the customer same day or next day, or else they'll be disappointed and won't order with us again. This is all part of our learning curve that I think having the MVP period was very important for us, because we wouldn't have learned or known what to do in these situations without that 1.5 months of figuring out what the customer wanted.
Because even for you, Don, the product development is very different, right? Because a lot of your product development would be to enhance your internal process.
Yeah.
Small, right?
Yeah. So it was very different, especially compared to Zaman Now and Pasar Now app. So Zaman Now was a reseller-facing app. Our resellers could share links, which they created their own website from our app, and customers could shop on those links. Pasar Now is a customer-facing app. The customers can download it, and they can find the mitra that's closest to them through the app. So the experience, the user experience, user journey, we had to study using our MVP. And then from the warehouse side, from the fleet management side, we had to know what were the things that they needed. How do you manage your fleet? How do you make sure that the routing is right? How do you make the optimal routes for our deliveries? How many items can fit on a motorcycle versus how many items can fit in a van? These were all the things that we had to learn when we made that pivot, which was probably one of the hardest and steepest learning curves we had in that short period of time during the early days of our pivot.
I see. But would you say that the learning curve during COVID is good enough for yourself?
I think it was, we had to learn, number one. And because of COVID, more people were not going to actual pasar, more people were actually ordering online. So that helped us as well, in a way. Our orders just kept growing, which forced us to try to find innovative ways to fulfill the orders. One interesting story is our MVP warehouse is still very small. it was actually only good for about 200 orders a day. We were still using it up to like 400 orders a day because our logistics team was very creative. We were originally only able to load one car at a time, but they found a way, they hacked a way to load 3 cars at the same time by parking one car on the left, one car on the right, one car in front, just to find a way to get the customer happy, to get them their products on time. They had to figure out a way. And in a way, having limited resources makes you think outside the box and makes you more creative. When you have too much resources, sometimes you get lazy. And I think that was one of the great things about that MVP period as well.
If, let's say, COVID didn't happen, would you say you would end up on this route anyway?
It's a tough question because if COVID didn't happen, Jamana would probably, like fashion would probably still be selling. So we might not have felt the pressure to change. So that is actually a very interesting question. In hindsight, this is the right pivot to make because our growth is much faster. It's a much quicker growth path for our company, and it has a more impact on all our mitras and our resellers compared to Jama now. But we might not have felt that pressure to change if COVID didn't happen. So I'm not too sure.
I see.
Maybe Cindy has a different answer from me. I don't know.
Yeah,
what do you think?
How about you? What do you think?
Iya, sebenarnya ketika kalau nggak ada COVID juga, ketika itu kita tuh udah mulai tahu, cara yang benar untuk educate reseller tuh gimana, how to help them get more customers, terus what type of products are doing well, itu kita udah mulai, ya kan Gan ya, kita udah mulai tahu gitu. Tapi COVID happened, terus lifestyle product udah nggak berhasil ya kita akhirnya terpaksa untuk berubah gitu. Cuman
to be honest,
nggak tahu, I don't know. kalau misalnya COVID didn't happen, we probably will still doing Jama now.
To be honest, if I can continue actually, earlier days before the COVID happened, we realized that selling fresh fruits and vegetables is very different from selling fashion. And we realized that if we want to sell fresh fruits and vegetables, we would have to have a new app. And before COVID, we were even considering maybe it's not worth selling fresh fruits and vegetables through our reseller platform. Maybe we should just cut out fresh fruits and vegetables. So it was, I guess maybe if COVID didn't happen, we wouldn't be selling fresh fruits and vegetables.
Yeah.
There was that discussion. So I'm not too sure, to be honest.
Yeah.
I see. Ardi, back to you, Ardi.
So are you saying that this is a blessing in disguise, not the pandemic, yeah, situation for you guys?
I think in a way it has been, for us, it's been very beneficial. It pushed us. I mean, without COVID, without this extra pressure from the situation, we wouldn't have forced ourselves to adapt. I think that was something that we realized we had to do. Being forced to adapt can come in many ways. For us, it was the pandemic. For other companies, maybe it would be their funding running out or other situations that forced them to realize that the path they're on is not the right one. But for us, we automatically saw that our sales of fashion products just wasn't working, and it really forced us to figure out something new.
Okay. So how did you guys tell your investors when you decided to do a pivot?
So when we decided to make the pivot, the MVP, we told our investors that we actually showed them the sales of fashion products just because of the pandemic isn't working. But if they saw the data, they could see that fresh fruits and vegetables are still selling. And so we want to try a little change to test out this new theory, this new hypothesis of ours. They're very supportive. They realize that as a company, we have to do something different or else we would sink. So when we told them that fresh fruits and vegetables was doing well, and we could get a very cheap warehouse for a very low price just to test out this idea, I think all our investors were very supportive.
How about Cindy? Do you have any take on
Ya,
that?
kira-kira kayak gitu.
Jadi semua based on data ya.
Yeah, based on data. I think any decision has to be based on data at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a question about
Yeah.
your manpower management, right? Because from zaman now, you could do it very lean, right? But with Pasar Now, you kind of have to hire a lot of labor, right?
Yes.
It's kind of like labor intensive as well. Have you faced any problem in that regard?
So yes, you're exactly correct. Jama now is much more lean. Our operational budget was much lower because we were a drop shipping business for our resellers. With Pasar Now, we're much more operational heavy. We have to have our own warehouse. We have to have sorting people. So far, I think we've been very lucky in being able to hire people. I think at this current time, there are a lot of people who are looking for work as well. So that's been very beneficial for us, especially for this type of work, like sorting. They're daily workers. There are a lot of people who live near our warehouse who do need that type of extra income. So we've been able to make an impact as well to the people who live there. And we had to find the right managers as well. But I don't think we had too much of a hard time finding people to work with us.
And are you planning to digitize that process as well, or how?
We are looking into digitizing the process. We are looking at ways on how to make it more efficient. For now, for sorting, I think it's still much cheaper for us to hire people.
Yeah.
But there will be different things in the future, like how to better manage the supplies or stuff like that we can probably digitize.
I see. Okay, thank you. Ardi, do you want to have the pleasure to ask the last questions?
Okay. Oh, well, yeah, I think we can go to the last question. So, what is the key takeaway in being a startup founder? Can you give some advice to the aspiring entrepreneurs? Let's start with Cindy.
This is a question that we always ask, and it's like kayak recapnya from your journey as a entrepreneur, as a startup founder, and whether it's something that to share, for future entrepreneurs.
Okay, so for me, number one is you have to make sure that your idea is sound and executable. Having a big target, is very important, but make sure they're doable and achievable. Karena banyak orang yang, I have this idea, that idea, tapi mereka belum tentu mampu untuk execute idea mereka itu. Terus sebagai founder, kita harus mau kerja keras, like I said before. It's different than when you're working in an established company. Kalau founder atau jadi director di startup itu berbeda. Kita harus mau kerja keras. And then you might want to find a good partners who have the same passion, who are in sync and can work on the same rhythm as you are. Terus you be open to suggestions, never stop learning and developing yourself. You have to listen to other people, to other people's feedback, inputs gitu. Karena karena you always want to be prepared so that you can be ahead of the pack. Banyak pesaing kita dan sebagainya yang kita tuh harus selalu lebih hebat daripada mereka. Terus, and for those who aspire to become an entrepreneur, work. Karena for me, it's one of the most important keys to success.
Okay.
That's interesting because I don't think anyone in Founders Diary have said that last one, build your network. I think the other part of your takeaways itu mungkin ada yang belum pernah ada yang ngomong ya dia.
Mungkin belum ya. Dan actually I got to know Cindy was in another organization, right? And yeah, I think you're right too. And I think you knew James from that organization as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You never know, right?
Yeah. I actually Arya and we actually knew James from very small, from baby. So yeah, I think
dari
that's
TK ya.
Oh, ya. Dan sebenarnya untuk zaman now maupun pasar now yang bikin kita grow-nya cepat, terus habis itu bikin kita tuh lebih lebih mudah untuk reach customers dan sebagainya itu karena network kita. Pasar now ini selain kita jual ke direct customers, kita juga jual ke restaurants, ke hotels, rumah sakit gitu. Di mana kebanyakan dari mereka tuh adalah kenalan kita juga dari network kita juga atau networknya teman kita. Jadi dari situ yang bikin kita tuh cepat untuk grow.
Yeah.
Thank you, Cindy.
Thank you, Cindy. How about you, Don?
For myself, I think I guess it's probably very important when you're going to start a startup to have a good vision of what you want to do, because while the short-term goals might change and your mission might change here and there slightly, like for us with the pandemic, if you have a strong vision, you'll know exactly where you're heading and what you're supposed to be doing with the company. And the company and the founders should probably be very agile, because we have to be adaptive to all the changes that's going on, especially with new competition, social circumstances changing. If you want your startup to succeed, you have to be able to adapt and be agile. And I think creating that culture within the company is very important. A company that rewards our people, our talent to learn, to keep improving themselves and never stop going forward. And maybe for myself as well, one of the things I found, every founder should probably be prepared that they're going to hit a wall at some point. It's not easy being a founder. There's a lot of obstacles. The weight of the company is on your shoulders, and many times you're going to stumble and fall. But a good founder will learn to pick themselves up and learn from any mistakes that they've made and how to improve and make their company better and stronger because of the mistakes. I think those are some of the main takeaways that I would say every founder should have.
How about
maybe one more?
Sorry. Oh, okay. No, I just want to
add. Be very passionate. Sorry.
No, I just want to add. Since you are like one of the technical founders, and what are some advices from the technical side, or how? Because sometimes it's hard for
technical to start a company.
To have a
sure.
Same concept with the operations, and the operations doesn't have the knowledge of the technology, and how do you do that? Like,
well, first of all, I'm a big believer of having an MVP, viable product, little as possible to create your MVP. You might just create a simple Instagram page just to see if people are interested in your idea, if they're going to order from you, to maybe something a bit more elaborate, such as a website, just to see if the idea is sound before you invest heavily. Because creating a tech team is not cheap. Hiring people, finding the right talent is not easy. So if you can prove that the idea is solid, then it's worth putting money into building everything else. that being said, once you start building your technologies, you have to know what you're trying to build, number one, and what type of stack you want to build. For example, because we're an early stage startup, things change very quickly. So type of technologies that we use are things that are suited for early stage pivoting and changing. We don't want to use databases that are very rigid. We want to use something that's more flexible.
I see. And I did try your MVP of Pasar Now.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, using Wix, right?
Yes, we use Wix to make our MVP.
And I was very surprised to see the new app within a couple of maybe weeks or a month.
Yeah. So it took us about 3 weeks to build the app after we realized what we want to do from the Wix MVP trial. Basically, from Wix, we knew what was working, what's not working. Then to build the app, basically we knew using which technology. So we use Ionix, which is an app which can build iOS and Android apps very quickly to push out our app. I think that was very important. The framework that you want to use is something that's simple and quick and agile, especially in the early stages. Of course, when your company grows to a certain size, there's going to be a revamp of the whole technology stack, because right now you're going to be using a single stack. And in the future, you're going to probably use microservices, which will make your company much more secure as well. So things will change and it'll be able to scale up better when you use microservices and stuff like that. But in the beginning, you don't have to worry so much about that. Just get the product out there, make sure people like what they're using, find out what they want. And it'll take some time for people to really know what they want. So be prepared to keep changing the app and the backend system until people are happy.
Yeah. I think this is new as well, Arya.
Maybe this is from a more technical. I don't want to get too technical because I don't want to lose the people watching. But yeah, don't spend too much in the beginning on the technology, I think.
Sorry, ini ada satu pertanyaan kalau boleh terakhir nih dari Albert Budiarso. Kalau apakah kalian masih bekerja di kantor lain sewaktu memulai Pasar Now ini? Jika iya, bagaimana memanage waktu untuk develop startup ini?
Menurut saya ya, kalau mau bikin startup, awal-awal itu paling sulit. Jadi waktu kita mulai Pasar Now, saya sudah quit dari perusahaan saya di Hong Kong. Saya sudah resign dan full time kerjain Zaman Now waktu awal-awal. Karena the early days of a startup is the most important. If you're only there 50% of the time, 30% of the time, you're never gonna take off. You have to really have skin in the game. I've worked with founders who were not fully having skin in the game because they had a fallback plan, because they were working on something else or in another company. If the company failed, they didn't have any risk. But if everyone, as a founder, if you're all willing to risk your livelihood to start your startup and everyone takes the same risk, then you know the weight. If you fail, then you're all going to lose big opportunities. So I think it's important for all founders to be taking the risk together. What about you, Sin? I don't know. That's my take.
How about you, Sin?
Okay, for me, like I said before, I worked in a fashion business with my sister. Terus when we started, I told her that I'm gonna do this new startup, right? I can help you sometimes, but not as much. Terus kenapa kayak gitu? Kenapa kayak kata Don gitu? You have to put 100% of your time to do this startup. Karena every day, every hour matters. Karena this day you have to do this, tomorrow you have to do this. Even until now, menurut kita itu every day itu sangat penting gitu. Jadi kita nggak bisa spend waktu untuk yang lain. Dan ketika teman-teman yang mau bikin startup terus merasa kalau nggak mau put our whole time for this, nggak mau dedicate our time for this, it means that you're not 100% sure that this thing could work, atau you don't really
You're not
believe
confident.
or you don't believe in your startup. Kalau udah kayak gitu, maybe there's something wrong that you need to fix. Karena menurut for me ya, kalau mau bikin startup ya harus dedicate 100%.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess that's it. Ini ada satu komen, Cindy is like Anne Hathaway in the intern film.
Oh my god. Thank you. I love her, by the way. Thank you.
So I guess that's it. Sorry to take another 15 minutes of your time, but I hope it's great. I mean, like, it's great for you guys to share with us. So thank you,
so
Cindy.
much.
Thank you, Donald. I'll let Ardi close it.
Yeah. So in summary, I think pivoting is it can happen to anyone. Yeah, and it can happen in any situations, and in this case is with the pandemic. And I think hopefully you guys have a good grow in this new business, and hopefully you can impact more people's lives as you grow to other cities as well. So good luck to you guys, and thank you everyone for attending our webinar, and we will send a follow-up email through email, and if there is any more question, you can ask through email, and we will ask the founders. And please follow our Instagram, Founders Diary and CR News, and you can see our today's webinar in the YouTube channel CR News. And see you next week for another episode of Founders Diary. And have a good night. See you next time. Bye.